Hello. Notequest is one of the most fun things you can do for $2. So the Notequest Extended Edition is a PDF, paper and pencil RPG that you can buy for $2 from drivethrurpg.com. Great little game, fast, fun to play with friends, or in my case, with my kids. This isn't videos not to explain how to play Notequest. That's in the PDF. But it's to explain an interesting way to play it, which is to use Mural, which is an online whiteboard tool to play Notequest. This is my Mural, and I'm going to explain how I made it in case you want to use this too. So why would you play a paper and pencil RPG in Mural? Well, I do it because, for one, the graphics look cool. For two, I share my computer screen on my television, and so my kids and I can play together, and we can more easily see the map versus if we played and I was drawing on a paper and pencil, we'd all be huddled around a little piece of paper while I drew. So this seems more fun. The other thing is Mural can be shared, so I could share this whiteboard and people could view the map if they were using an iPad or a phone. So there's a lot of ways you can share it. So I found that Mural works really well. And the video is just to talk through how I built this little board. So first, to orient you to it, this is the world map. So in Extended Edition of Notequest, there's an overworld and then there's a dungeon. So each tile in the overworld is a little hex. And as your explorer searches the overworld, you create new hexes. I use colors to represent the terrain. So plains, forest, desert, mountain, water, and swamp. The numbers I have after here just remind me of how many provisions it takes to move through that type of terrain. I also have a character, and that's just simply a title and some stats about them. And then when my character, I also use a little icon here, you can see he's a dwarf, so I have a little animated dwarf. When your character goes into a dungeon, that's normally something you would draw with pencil and paper. That's when I draw it with boxes in Mural. So this is the latest dungeon. You can see I made just a simple little stick figure type drawing where this is steps. I use a gray box for corridors. And then I create black lined boxes for rooms of different sizes. For doors, I use a little brown rectangle. And when the door is open, I just make it the inside clear, which just signifies that the door is open. If inside of a room I find a secret passage, I just keep over here a couple icons. I just duplicate that. I put that question mark in there to remind me there's a secret passage in there. If I find a chest, on the Mac it's Command D. I just duplicate the chest and throw it in there to remind me later there's a chest. If I find a monster and I don't kill it, I leave it in there. Like in this case, the living armor, or I put that also in there to remind me that that's inside of there. So as I'm playing and rolling, in this case I group these just to make it easy because I've done this. As I'm playing and rolling, if here I might have maybe there was another door, I'll just take this, duplicate it, and I open that door and I find another room. I'll go in here, open the door, say I roll for another room. Again, I just duplicate one of them that I've already got, do this icon to move it, and then I can make it whatever size I want. If it says small room or wide room or whatever's the appropriate size, I put it in there. So it's a really easy way to build out using basic shapes the maps and the dungeons. I also put a little star icon at the beginning and a title. So I find it works really well. I also usually take my character and slide my character right next to my current dungeon. In this case, I have him grouped, so I'll ungroup him. And the character, I like to have a nice portrait, a little title of who it is. a little section for provisions, coins, hit points, and torches, and then another section for my inventory. As I'm playing, I might go through here, and if I use a torch, I can just quickly change it while I'm playing. If I lose hit points, again, I just change it as I'm playing. If I fight a monster, again, I usually just keep a text box over here, and I'll just type out the details of the monster. So that might be a goblin, and I'll just type out 3 hit points, 1 damage, and explosion. I fight a lot of goblins, so I actually just know that off the top of my head. Goblins actually come, oops, let me do that. Goblins come in multiples, so you roll 1d6 goblins. So if I ended up fighting like 5 goblins, personally, I just like to put in 5 goblins. And as I kill them, I just remove them. So it's pretty easy to edit the text while you're playing, and then you have a state of what's going on. And then when I'm done, I just delete that and keep going. A little bit about one little trick to share is the background here is an image, but in Mural you can lock. So I locked it. I'll show you unlock. If you don't lock it, it's easy to accidentally grab the background and slide it around. So if you just lock it, that will stay put. And when you add new tiles, then you won't have to worry about moving the background accidentally. So on the overworld, when I add a new tile, if I roll here and I was going to add a new tile, I usually just take one of the tiles that I have up here, duplicate it, put it in place. Or you have one and you want to change, you can obviously just change the color to make it whatever kind of terrain you want. So it's pretty easy. If a character dies, and unfortunately in this game they're going to die all the time, I like to put them in the Hall of Heroes. And so here I'll just copy my character up here, put a little icon to show he's dead, and I can remember their past victories. For my current character in the overworld, I also have a little animated icon, and where I get that is in Mural. If you go to Images, Giphy, you can type in anything you want. Say I had a knight with my character. There's probably an animated knight in here that I can use as my overworld character. So like I would maybe use this guy. And then it's fun because he's animated, and then I know where he's at. So for my characters, I like to have an animated little icon on the overworld, and then a portrait. So that's a really fun way to play. One of the nice things is I have all of the dungeons that I've completed so far, and I can go back and just check out the battles and the kind of the fun adventure. I like to make a little bit of narrative play, so kind of explain what's going on and why the character might be exploring these dungeons. Hope that helps, and hope you enjoy that. Another tip is that Mural is free for personal use. So you can sign up at mural.co. I'll put a link in the description.